They actually did it. Honkai Star Rail patch 4.2 is really good. The story this time around felt more focused. It was able to grip me from start to finish, with some isolated moments of the writer's bad habits seeping in. The character writing was excellent this time around, and our major antagonists are making their presence known. I have a lot more to say, but before we continue any further, greetings, I'm Seriflor. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you'll consider subscribing. If you're not new, welcome back. Let's talk about Honkai Star Rail patch 4.2 story. Let's start off with what I like. I like the story and lore implications we've got this time around. The idea that the populace of Planet Arcadia, namely the people who took the abundance surgery, were the supplicants of the octopus mask, was a crazy reveal. And it shows how we can't underestimate Elation or the Phantasmoon games. To be specific, it seemed like Shuhu, the emanators whose cells were used for the surgery, was the supplicant, and they were represented through the populace. When the affected began to transform into creatures of abundance, and in turn Full Wish used them to infect people who haven't taken the surgery, it reminded me a lot of a zombie outbreak. And having the bodies of people and creatures scattered about did wonders in elevating the urgency of the situation. This is good environmental storytelling here. HSR has done this before when showing the aftermath of the current cycle of Amphorius, or when Sam arrived to challenge us in Penacony, so it's nothing new, but each time it's done very well. We also learned just how dangerous Elation is. Unlike Destruction or Nihility, Elation isn't straightforward nor easy to define, and because of that, it can be left up to interpretation. We see just how destructive that is during this patch. There's no better example than Full Wish, who after suffering the trauma of the Herald of Death, became a recluse. It was there that the kindness of strangers picked her out of the gutter and got her into the public eye again, only to discover that those strangers were just actors hired by the TV station to run a segment on her. This, coupled with the masked fools reaching out to her, broke the young Full Wish, turning her into the monster she became today. Sparksy alluded to this in 4.0, and it's come full circle here. The Elation on Planet Arcadia is twisted, turning tragedy into jokes, and jokes evolving into tragedy. Full Wish's revenge on society is proof of that ideal. Another thing that sold me on the story being great was the introduction of Asat Pramod, the Lord Ravager opposing Elation. I love how he was lurking in Planet Arcadia's cyberspace, and how he tried to troll Silverwolf and delete her from existence during their encounter. And I like how he's a reflection of the path he's attempting to destroy. He comes across as jubilant and playful, but there's an air of cynicism and venom beneath his very word that sells his threat level not just to Silverwolf, but the entirety of Planet Arcadia itself. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. Finally, there's the character writing. I have to say, my opinion on Yao Guang has taken a 180. Her actions and behavior this patch is what I expect from an Arbiter General. I would have enjoyed her B-plot in 4.0 a lot more if she was like this from the get-go. Silverwolf is whatever. She plays her role in discovering Asat Pramod and bringing him into the spotlight, but personally I feel like this isn't necessarily a turning point in her storyline, just the next evolution. She didn't have any epiphany, no character deconstruction and reconstruction, none of that. But that's okay. Silverwolf is the type of character who doesn't need to change, and it'd be weird if her new form did just that. Blade's role in the story surprised me. I figured he'd have his moments sequestered in the next patch, but here he plays a key role in eliminating the abundance from Planet Arcadia. He comes in clutch at the end, and his actions open the door for more intriguing lore in the coming patches, as Yao Guang is putting his arrest on hold for the time being. Finally, maybe it's because of the rewrites, but Evanescia definitely felt a bit shafted. It feels like she should have been with us fighting Full Wish, or at least confronted her directly. There's also the fact that her full backstory isn't explained just yet either. While she does play a role in saving everyone and gifting the Trailblazer a new mask, it feels like she's missing a massive character arc. Let's talk about what I didn't like. First, a round of applause for Pearl for still being the worst fucking character in Planet Arcadia for 3 patches in a row. She deserves a shit-crusted medal for her achievements. Excellent job. Beautiful. I couldn't have written a more awful character if I tried. The Sparksy segment was also yet another section in his story where the writers just waste your time. In this section, we learn that Full Wish was in the tavern after receiving her mask, and we learn that she tried to destroy it, leading to a rift in the hospital where Sparksy later learns of her abilities. This entire section kind of felt pointless, as the Trailblazer learns what Full Wish's powers are without Sparksy's help. Sure, she shows up at the end to help the Trailblazer, but we didn't need her section in the hospital. That moment with her in the climax was good enough. The only credit I can give is that we see Full Wish's powers firsthand before they take control of the people in the story. While the scene where the Trailblazer receives their Elation path was awesome, especially when you can choose the emanator that appears with you when speaking to Evanescia, I dislike how weird this scene is. Where is Aha? Usually when the Trailblazer gets a new path, a graphic of the Eon shows up with them. Maybe this is alluding to the fact that this isn't the full power of Elation, or could it mean something more sinister? I don't know. We'll have to see how this turns out in later patches. There's also still instances of bloated dialogue where what could be explained in a sentence gets explained in a paragraph. I feel like this is getting worse, especially when the Herald of Death is brought up. And I know this isn't technically story related, but I'll continue to shit on the platforming segments. They are still overused in my opinion. I'd rather just have 2 segments per patch. That's about my threshold before these get really annoying. Finally, the cliffhanger where Ouroboros, the Veracity, is mentioned. I have a strong dislike of this scene because it's implemented just to grab your attention and nothing more. It's like the Herda and Screwlim Yap cliffhangers in Amphorius where they say something crazy, like there's a Lord Ravager on Amphorius, and we don't get any context until much later. HSR does this far too often. These only land when the cliffhanger is capitalized early in the story, like in Penacony when Sunday is killed by Death, or even here in Planet Arcadia where Ryusuke confronts Himiko. All I'm saying is, until we find out where this revelation goes, it could be a great cliffhanger or just some bullshit. Overall, 4.2 was a really strong and gripping story. It still stumbles from the writer's bad habits, but the pros far outweigh the cons. We'll see if they can keep this momentum going as we start delving deeper into the conspiracy surrounding the Phantom Moon games. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later.